Oh hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any questions regarding to this video or any other videos that I have made in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now in this video, I'm going to talk about a topic that has raised a lot of interesting discussion. The idea of when you stir frying in the wok. The best technique to stir fry in the wok is to create something called wok chi. Now wok chi is a very interesting concept. It is also a very elusive concept. The best way people always define wok chi is that it tastes great if you go to eat in a Chinese restaurant. Particularly in a restaurant, they use a high BTU burner. Because the increased heat will allow you to cook the food much better than otherwise. And so people come to the conclusion is that you can only cook food that with a high BTU burner to achieve the type of flavor that you find in a Chinese restaurant. But of course that is not true at all, because not all food tastes the same. So what is wok chi? A question that I have asked for quite some time. So today I'm going to show you a version of wok chi that I created based on the advice of a friend who is a professional chef, and he's well known for in the area that his ability to create wok chi in his restaurant. So he told me that one thing about wok chi is that you got to have some charring in your dish. Now there's nothing new or surprise about charring of your food ingredients. A lot of time we know that anytime when you char food, they taste a little bit better. They have that char flavor. It gives the food a more full body flavor, and anybody who do grilling will know that how important charring is. For example, if you're going to grill a hamburger or grill a steak, you want the hamburger and steak to be charred, and this char gives the food the extra flavor that is lacking without it. So one thing I decided I can create wok chi is by create some item that I can add to the dish that I can char. And one of the best way to char anything is that to use bacon. Because bacon, traditionally, is the charring that make the bacon taste great. The bacon slightly burnt, and plus that it become crispy. So here, the first thing I did is that I cook some bacon and I char it. And now I'm going to cook the vegetable in it. Now, can you char the vegetables? And that is another question. I talked to my friend who is a chef. And he said, yeah, there are different ways you can char vegetables. But however, charring vegetables are more complicated because vegetables lack oil. So in order to char the vegetable has to be very dry. Otherwise, it will not be charred. Now, as you can see in this demonstration, the vegetables that I use are very dry because I have stored them in the refrigerator for several days after the advanced prepping. And this is one advantage of advanced prepping, that you can dry it out. Most of the time, when you bring the vegetable back from the grocery store, they usually store in plastic bags. And the plastic bag tend to hold the moisture, so the vegetable tend to be wet. So after I open it, a lot of time I do not wash them, or if I wash them, I let them dry thoroughly before I put them into the plastic container. So because of this, all the vegetables that I put in to make this dish, which you can see there are 4-5 different kinds of vegetables, they are all very dry. Now another important thing is that if you want to create charring of the vegetables, one of the best things to do is that to make sure your wok is hot enough. Now that is one little trick. If you have too much oil, the wok will never be hot enough because the oil temperature will prevent the food ingredients to go above its smoking point. So in this case, as you notice that at the bottom of the wok there has no or very little oil at all. And as I stir frying it, it will start to char the vegetable. Now in this case, stir frying it readily is important because you will not burn certain type of vegetable. You will able to char them more or less evenly. You can see there's a lot of steam coming out. This actually is due to the heat produced by the wok. And since I don't have any much oil in it, it caused the vegetable to release the steam, and this resulted from charring. Now, as you notice that as I continue to stir fry vegetables, the charring continued to progress Now, if you do not want the vegetable to char so much, then you add a little bit more oil. Now, I always have some oil in a squeeze bottle. This will allow me to add just enough oil that how I like it. You notice that all the vegetables that I cook to start out have very little moisture. The next step is that I'm going to put some tofu in. At this point, I put the tofu in because I decided I have enough charring of the vegetables. Now, once you add the tofu, the charring is going to stop because the temperature of the wok will drop readily. Now, this tofu is a fried tofu. It's a pre-fried tofu I purchased, but still it contains moisture. Once you introduce the moisture, the temperature of the wok is going to drop, and this will drop below the temperature that will allow it to char the vegetables. So as you can see, when you stir fry, there are different ways that you can control the temperature of the wok. And it doesn't have to be a high BTU burner, because if you put the wok on in this case, it's a glass top electric burner long enough, the temperature will rise. And the temperature of the wok will continue to rise, basically controlled by the amount of oil in the wok. The more oil you have it, the less the temperature will go above the smoking point of the oil. So at this point, the charring has done. The tofu contains moisture and it will prevent the temperature from going up any further. So the end result is you notice that the steam coming from the wok has disappeared because the temperature has already dropped below the temperature that is necessary for the steam to rise. At this point, the dish is pretty much done. I start to season the dish first with some oyster sauce, or you can use any sauce that you like, and then I add the minced ginger that I have prepared earlier. You can see that the cooking has divided into two separate stages. The first stage is you cook the dish with only a small amount of oil. And if you use the oil that are not sufficiently enough to cover the surface of the wok, and it's going to be a fine balance between how much oil you want to have in the wok. Now, if you have too much oil, the temperature will not go beyond the smoking point of the oil. But if you have no oil or too little oil, then you might have a lot of the ingredients get burned. In this case, the charring will go beyond control, and it might be far more than what you would like the ingredients to be controlled. So in this case, the next step is that you notice that because of the charring, there are some of the food ingredients going to burn to the surface of the wok, and this will make the wok very hard to clean later on. So the next step to solve this problem is that I'm going to add small amount of water specifically at the area where the burn things had happened. I put the water in my squeeze bottle. This will allow me to deposit water specifically to the area where I have burn material on the surface of the wok. Now this is a very effective way actually to clean the wok, because as soon as the water hit the wok, the water will turn into steam, and that in fact will help clean the wok. But this, of course, another advantage is that it will remove the flavor and return it back to the dish. So from this standpoint, it is truly a win-win situation. But you do not want to add too much water, because if too much water, then it would dilute the flavor. And if too much water, it will also reduce the charring or the char flavor that are present on the surface of the food ingredients. Now, as I remove the food from the wok, you notice that the sauce clings tightly to the surface of the ingredients, because I add only a very small amount of water, and since the oyster sauce contains cornstarch, it will create this thickened sauce. Now, quite often you do not want to have too much sauce in a dish like this, because excessive amount of sauce will reduce the flavor of the charring. So as you can see here, this is what wok chi is all about. Wok chi is that to create food have multiple different levels of flavor, and one of the important things the wok chi is created, at least according to the traditional cooking method, at least on the internet, is that you have food that has been charred. So in some demonstration, people actually try to produce charring by using a culinary blowtorch, which I have one as well, and I tried that. Unfortunately, the culinary blowtorch is not hot enough to cause charring in food ingredients that has moisture. Even a small amount of moisture, it will take a significant amount of time to cause charring. But using this method, it's much efficient and effective to cause the charring that you want. And because of this reason, wok chi can be created using this method by controlling the temperature of the surface of the wok with the amount of oil that you add, and also by making sure the food ingredients has as little moisture as possible in order for the charring to take place. Finally, lastly, is that the contrast of flavor is very important in any type of dishes. But in wok chi, the contrast of flavor is even more important by adding, in this case, fresh bell pepper that have never been cooked. So it will contrast with the vegetable that has been charred. To make the flavor even more distinctive, I put a very small amount of bacon, and the bacon will have that crispy flavor. So when you eat this dish, you will have a truly great experience of food that has been charred, partly from the vegetables as well as from the bacon. Ultimately, home cooking is all about finesse, all about paying attention to details to achieve the flavor that you want, and this is the foundation of flavor chasing. And if you follow this type of instinct, you will always cook the dish that you love and enjoy. So I don't think it is necessary to consider the need for special method, for special technique. The wok is so versatile, it will allow you to achieve so many different possibilities. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. And with my fast cooking system, you can make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun, so that you will never get bored and you will always enjoy the food that you cook. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.